We begin the programme in Venezuela, where officials say at least 235 people are now known to have died in Wednesday's powerful back-to-back earthquakes. Large numbers of people are still unaccounted for as rescue teams try to find survivors in the rubble of collapsed buildings. These are live scenes coming to us from the capital, Caracas. The second of the quakes was the strongest in Venezuela since 1900. The country's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, said that her government's absolute priority was to find as many survivors as possible as she visited the worst-hit area, the state of Guaira. Joe Inwood has our report.
In Guaira, whole blocks reduced to rubble. The city, a scene of destruction, devastation and despair. For people like Carolina, who cannot find her son.
The only thing I can say is that I have my heart in my hands and I don't know what to do. I ask God for all of us because this is something that, where you see that, nothing. I don't know where he is.
And this was the moment on Wednesday evening when two major earthquakes struck in quick succession. The first magnitude 7.2, the second 7.5.
I started hearing massive thunder sounds, and by the time I looked around, everyone else that was outside of the boxing ring I was in was already crowded under the pillar and supports and started screaming. The earthquake lasted what felt like a really long time. It felt like about 30 seconds. The local people there were screaming for God to save us.
The town of La Guaira on the coast was worst hit, but the capital, Caracas, was also badly affected. There, chains of people formed to help clear the huge piles of debris and search for survivors. Venezuela is a poor country that has suffered from years of economic mismanagement and corruption. The acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, has promised that heavy machinery and aid will get to the affected areas as soon as possible.
And we are now declaring a state of emergency, as provided for in our constitution. I want to thank the governments of the world that immediately after these earthquakes occurred, contacted Venezuela to offer solidarity and support.
And those promises of aid have come in from all over the world, but notably from the US. They recently captured Venezuela's longtime president in a controversial military operation. The White House has now said it will send around $150 million in aid. And time is of the essence. No one knows how many, but people are trapped under this rubble. Some will still be alive, for now. Graciela was pulled out by rescuers many hours after her building collapsed.
When the earthquake started, I clung as tightly as I could to the doorframe, so tightly that I broke my finger. I held on tight, really tight to the doorframe until all the floors collapsed.
With every hour that passes, the chances of finding people alive goes down. This was the worst natural disaster to hit Venezuela in decades. The cost it has inflicted continues to grow. Joe Inwood, BBC News.
Well, I've been speaking to Victoria Aguirre, who has family in Venezuela, and I began by asking her exactly how her family were.
Everybody's alive and safe. Everybody managed to make it out safely out of their homes. They're still quite shaken and reeling from all of this, but physically they're okay.
Okay, so what did they share with you in terms of their experience when those earthquakes struck?
There was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of don't knowing what to do, especially because this is the biggest tragedy that has happened in the last almost 80 years. So obviously the first reaction is, oh, let's try and get the older members of the family out, make sure that we all get out, and then seeing the neighborhood, like their neighborhood come down is quite a harrowing picture to see.
You said they've managed to get out. Where are they?
They're still in their homes. their homes were thankfully one of the few that, besides material damage on the inside, loss of like cutlery and stuff and other personal items seem to be okay. We're still assessing the foundational cracks and stuff, see if it's still safe for them to keep in their homes, but they're keeping around their area.
Yeah, so, you know, we've heard the story of how you do have extremes in Venezuela, you know, new modern buildings and probably have a lot more safety measures when it comes to natural disasters like this. But then you have those that aren't so lucky. Are you hearing any stories of people who have completely lost their homes?
Yeah. It's been nonstop online. You'll see people sharing the videos of their homes, their video of their neighborhoods, their video of them showing you this is where my building used to stand and it's completely down to rubble.
And very quickly, in terms of access to power, to water, what are you hearing on that?
Uh, Last I've heard, the gas main has been shut down since yesterday to avoid risk of explosion with everything that was happening. With that, access to clean water is very limited unless you have access to either one of the like welfare centers that are being set up, the pop-up centers, or if you're able to mobilize yourself to one of the bigger meetup points like the stadium or bigger shopping centers, it's very difficult to get clean and reliable water and electricity as well.
Victoria, just thinking ahead, what are your family's main concerns right now? What are they worried about the most?
Uh, Immediately trying to make sense of everybody who's still missing. Thankfully, my immediate family is not missing anybody, but that does not exclude us from knowing somebody who does. So obviously, it's immediately trying to find answers. It's also trying to assess: is it safe for us to stay here? Is it safe either because there's cracks in the foundation, or is it safe because we're getting active help and aid with food and, as you said, electricity and stuff? And overall, is it safe to move around? Because one of the major highways near Caracas was also affected. It fully cracked open. So it's a lot about safety, I think.
That was Victoria Aguirre speaking to me earlier.